How to specify another Tox project folder as a dependency for a Tox project. We have a Tox-enabled project, let's call it main project, which has a dependency on another Tox project, let's call it library project, all united in one repository since it is all part of a large overarching project. How the project works for the regular user. For a regular install as an end user, you would simply install library first and then main, right from the repository or whatever sources, and then run it. What our issue is with Tox. However, as a developer the situation is different, because Tox should work and you might want to have multiple versions around at the same time. You usually check out the large overarching repository and then the file system layout is this. Now if I go into main/ and type Tox, this happens. Current behavior, it will try to build the main project with a dependency on library, which will obviously result in an attempt to get library from pip. However, the project is not released yet, therefore not on pip, so it won't work, even though the lib is right there in the same repo. Result, it doesn't work. Workaround 1, we could set up our own package index / ask users to do that. However, asking everyone contributing to the project to do that with dev.py or similar just to be able to run the unit test seems not such a good idea, so we'd need to do it centrally. But if we provided a package index at some central place or a pip package for library, people couldn't run the tests of main easily with involvement of a modified version of library they created themselves. Library is in the same repository after all, so people might as well modify it at some point. That typing Tox inside the main project folder will not easily pick up upon the present neighboring library version, but only a prepackaged online thing isn't exactly intuitive. Workaround 2, we tried cd packages equals true and installing library in the system, however, cd packages equals true has caused us notable amount of troubles and it doesn't seem a good idea in general. Desired behavior, we want Tox to use the local version of the library and that folder right in the same overarching repository which people will usually get in one thing. That version might be newer or even locally modified, so this is clearly what the dev user wants to use. And it exists, which cannot be said about the pip package right now. Why do we want the overarching repository anyway with sub-projects, main, library, and not just one single project? We develop a multi-daemon large project with many daemons for various purposes, with shared code in some libs to form a university course management system, which deals with forums, course management with possibility to hand in things, attached code versioning systems for student projects, etc. It is possible to just use a subset of daemons, so it makes sense that they are separate projects, but still they are connected enough that most people would want to have most of them, therefore all of them in one repository. The library itself is also suitable to be used for entirely different projects, but it is usually used for ours to start with, so that is where it is stuffed into the repository. So that means it is always around in the given relative path, but it has its separate tox.ini and unit tests. TLDR, summary. So how can we make Tox look for a specific dependency in another Toxable project folder instead of just pip when installing a project? Of course main's regular setup.py install process shouldn't mess around with Tox or searching the local disk, it should just check for one specific relative path, and then give up if that one is not present, and fall back to pip or whatever. So best would be if the relative path could be somehow stored in tox.ini. Or is this all just a pretty bad idea? Should we solve this differently to make our main project easily toxable with the latest local dev version of library as present in the local repository?
As suggested in the comments to the response of Diablonio, it is possible to supply an install _ command in the tox.ini file. I use this to make a bash script that takes all the usual pip arguments, but then runs pip before with just pip install editable equals file colon / pwd / path / the neighbor repo, and only then actually runs the regular pip install $@ afterwards with the arguments to the script, as would be passed by tox to pip directly. I then use this script with install _ command instead of the regular default pip command. With this two-step procedure it works fine. Smile.
You can use pip's editable option in your main project, like followings. PS, don't use this style, this URL toxinitor /. library, because tox pass whole string as an argument to argparse in error for empt.
I realize it's been a long time since the question was asked but might be useful to someone. I tried to do the same, and it turns out it can be done using distgr directory of tox. This URL.
You should try separate tool for that like Ansible. Example. Ansible creates and run your virtual env. Ansible install local dependencies like use subprojects. In every subproject use tox to run tests, lint, docs. It was more convenient way to tox subprojects.
If you want to see more, please consider subscribing.